back to our 8th episode of the Launch Your Farm Show, where I interview Kevin Kaufman with Group 4610 of EXP Realty. Kevin and I discuss how he went from being the go-to short sale specialist over a decade ago to having to shift his business to a more traditional real estate approach. Kevin shares his journey of failure and adapting in his business. In this episode, Kevin and I talk about how not adapting your business will be your ultimate demise. Kevin shares how he had to change his entire mindset around how he does his business and how it completely saved his career. We also talk about why video is a must for your business and how you can use it to strengthen your relationships. We also share a super easy process you can use to build the relationships with your sphere and your farm that give you consistent business. And we talk about why doing what you enjoy is more important than doing what others tell you to do. Plus, we have a ton of other great insights and ahas that you can apply to your business today. So be sure to check out this episode, let us know what you think, and enjoy the episode with Kevin. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Launch Your Farm Show. We've got a great guest. It's Kevin Kaufman from EXP Realty, and you're from Group 4610. So Kevin, take a second, tell us a bit about yourself and a bit about your business.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on. First of all, Ryan, I appreciate that. So as you mentioned, Kevin Kaufman with Group 4610 and EXP Realty. We are based, I say based because our business is a little bit different, in the Phoenix, Arizona area. Technically, Tempe, Arizona is where my office is. And we run an expansion team. So we've got our core business, if you will, is in Phoenix. My business partner, Fred, and I, who, you and I, our paths crossed years and years ago when we were just in Phoenix. So that's our core business. But then we've also run an expansion team for the last 6 years. So we've got real estate agents in about 5 total cities across, I guess, 5 different states or 4 different states, whatever it is right now. I'm losing track. We started that back in 2014. And so we sell real estate and love doing it. We started out, in the early days, as you know, doing short sales, and a lot of them, because that's what it was in Phoenix when I got into real estate. And here we are today, just helping folks fight through this crazy time.
So you guys have really been someone who I've looked up to over the years of really kind of being innovative, staying forward with your business and not just kind of being stagnant. You guys have done some really cool things. I want to talk a bit about some of those things you are working on, some of the things you've maybe done in the past that have worked, and then maybe some of your failures as well, because a lot of times people don't want to talk about those. But let's dive into kind of when you got started. What did that look like for you, for your business? And then how's that evolved over the years?
Yeah, no, and lucky for you, man. Like we fail, like we screw up a lot, so I could fill up that segment, no problem. So I got licensed in the middle of 2007. So to give perspective in Phoenix, it's funny now because now I'm at the opposite end of that, like literally polar opposite. So I get licensed in 2007. I literally have friends who are trying to tell me not to do it. Like, don't get in real estate. You missed it. You missed out.
Yeah.
Don't do it. And so, you know me obviously enough by now, Ryan, that if you tell me not to do something, I'm just going to do it. Right. Yeah. So of course that just solidified my decision. So I got licensed it was like the last, end of May of 2007. And I think I started officially working beginning of June, and sold the house right away to my best friend, which just for fun, because it's fun. I think I showed him 53 houses. I'm still a little bitter about that. I'm almost over it, 13 years later, almost. And, but my third transaction ever was a short sale. And it was wasn't my listing. It was my now business partner, Fred's. He came to me and said, "Hey, I need some help." He was going on his honeymoon. He had a bunch of people in his network who were underwater and who needed help. And he literally said to me, he's like, "Here's the thing though. I don't know if we can I don't know who's going to pay us, because like my clients are broke. Like they literally have no money. I'm not sure if the banks will pay us, because we're going to ask them to take like hundreds of thousands of dollars less than what they're owed." So of course I said yes. Right. And so we go after it. And I share that with you because I remember on my first short sale, the bank asked me for this thing called a BPO. And I was like, "What is a BPO?" So they tell me, it's broker's price opinion. I'm like, "Well, what is that?"
Yeah.
They tell me they're like, "Well, it's an opinion of like what the value is. It's not an appraisal, but it's, it's more formal than that." So me, like, because I've been licensed for 30 seconds, I think I have to do this. So I basically write like this college thesis, or as close as I'm ever going to get to a college thesis, on what this opinion of value is, right? Which I just made this thing up. Like it was like literally an essay. And I remember pulling the comps, and there was like 59,000 homes for sale in whenever I was doing this, it must have been, call it July or August of '07 by the time I get to this point, right? And there, to put in perspective, there's like 9,000 houses for sale today.
Oh, wow.
So like that was that end of the spectrum where there was no buyers. And
Yeah.
now, and we've had, like, the crazy part here in Phoenix is, we've had it, we can go into this later, but like, it's not like we don't have new listings coming on the market. They're just selling
Yeah.
in minutes.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of, that was where I cut my teeth, man. And I like to tell people my third deal ever was a short sale. And then like the next 1,000 or so were short sales for the most part. And
Yeah.
shortly after, my business partner and I started working together and kind of formed a team and started taking our business pretty seriously. And, just because we were trying to close some deals, man, we were just trying to do short sales. And that's really where we built our business. And as you know, this, story doesn't end there because
Yeah.
markets change, right? So yeah, that was kind of where we got started.
That's awesome. And I think the key takeaway from that is you just jumped in and you figured it out. And a lot of people experience something, it's something out of the normal that they're not used to, and then they either don't even tackle it or they just shy away from it. And you just kind of went head on and said, I'll figure it out. And you weren't afraid to do that. And that's what kickstarted your business, which is awesome.
Yeah, it really was. People literally, I felt like they felt sorry for me, right? That was when I got my license, and that's when I started learning real estate. But from the very get-go, I was like, I have such an advantage. Like, if I can survive this year, my first year, in real estate, or the first couple of years in real estate, like I have such an advantage over everybody else, because I remember Fred and I started teaching classes literally just a couple months in on how to do short sales, because we kept hearing from cross agents like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you got that approved for my client. Thank you so much. No one else has ever gotten a short sale approved that we've written on.
Yeah.
How did you do it? So here I am, like, I've been in the business less than a year, and I'm teaching other realtors how to do short sales.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking like, wow, what an advantage, because people were getting out of the business, like dropping like flies, basically.
Yeah.
They could not make it happen. And we were thriving. Like, don't get me wrong, it was hard. Like anybody who starts their real estate business, the first year is hard anyways.
Yeah.
But when they're short sales and they take, 6 to 9 or 10 months to close, it's even, it's a little bit harder.
Yeah.
But here we were making it happen from the get-go. And I thought, like, this is such an advantage to me.
Yeah. And by doing that, you learned and got the experience more than anyone else. You overcame that fear and you stayed in the business. And those people who dropped off or may not even left the business, just kind of disappeared, they lost market share and you gained it. And then when things rebounded, which I want to jump into, is as that comes back, you guys had a real stronghold in the market because you were doing a fair amount of deals. So what did it look like for you to shift then from the short sales to a quote unquote normal market for you?
It's funny because sometimes I feel like it depends on what mood I'm in, like how I'm feeling about our business that day. Sometimes I'll sit there and realize, like, truthfully, we made a transition pretty smoothly. Like, I have a lot of friends that did short sales, and REOs, foreclosures, who, quite frankly, like, their businesses never, most of them, their businesses never evolved, and they've been out of business for years. Like, some of them have been out of business for 7, 8, 9 years, or virtually out of the business. They're doing 10% of the business they used to do. And so when I look at it like that, I'm like, we did, but I truthfully felt like we moved too late. Like, and we still have a great coach who was on us about non-short sale business from the get-go.
Yeah.
And I felt like we shifted about a year late, but for us, I remember it was 2012, probably did 25 or 30, we probably did like 25, what I'd call traditional listings, so non-short sale listings. And it was but the thing is like the short sales were still just flying at us. They were easy. But in 2013, like, that's the year I tell people I had to learn how to become a realtor, because I had to compete for listings. I had never had to do that before.
Right.
I mean, I would take listings all over the phone. I didn't go to people's houses.
Wow.
I remember, you might remember, a good friend of mine by the name of Rick Jiha, who was a great trainer. He really influential on me in the beginning, especially the early part of my career.
Yep.
I flew him into town for a training, and I picked him up from his hotel, and I had some earbuds in like this, and I said, hey, hold on a second. I got to take this call. And so I get off the call and he looked at me like astonished because Rick's an old school dude, right?
Yeah.
He's been in the business for a while. And he goes, "What was that?" I said, I was like, "I was just taking a listing." He's like, "Yeah, I noticed." And he goes, "Are you telling me that you literally just took a listing right now over the phone in your car?"
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, that's kind of how I do all the listings." And he was like, "Oh my God." And so, it's just like, so I was taking listings that way because I had, and you and I probably talked about this on the niche, right? On the niche agent
Yeah.
was like, I knew this thing that nobody else, not nobody, but almost nobody else knew. Like
Yeah.
if I listed a short sale, like 95% chance it was going to succeed. Whereas
Yeah.
the rest of the industry was less than like 40% chance it
Yeah.
was going to succeed. So I had this knowledge, this information that nobody else had. So it was much different. But come 2013, what I don't have is I really don't have sales skills.
Right.
And I really had to learn how to go get a listing when it wasn't a short sale. And so 2013, it's funny, I made more money that year than I probably did in 2012, even though we sold less houses.
Yeah.
Um, but I worked a lot harder, a lot more hours, and I felt like I got kicked in the teeth daily, right? So 2012, I'll leave out the gruesome part of the details, but Fred and I weren't even in Arizona for half the year. We were in Colorado for half the year, focused on another project. We were running a region for Keller Williams Realty, and our team was selling a lot of houses, but truthfully, leadership wise, was falling apart. And then at the same time, the market is totally shifting. And so 2013 was a real wake up call. Like I had to get back into the trenches of sales every day because our team was no longer leveraged up. It was just me and Fred and an admin. And all of a sudden I'm going on, like I have no problem getting appointments, but what I'm noticing is like I'm getting 2 or 3 out of 10, not 7 or 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
And it was hard. And so I realized I had a skill problem and I had to fix that.
And I think that's a critical thing to really pay attention to, because sometimes people look at people's success and then look at them, oh, look how much business they've done, or this is where they're at. And it's like people don't realize the growth that you've had to have, that people have to go through, the crap you have to go through to get that. And in those moments of when things are crappy, that's really where the growth and opportunities happen. And if everything's easy and you just kind of plug along with your business, it's like you don't grow and you'll never really hit that huge success unless you go through that. In my opinion, I think you need to have those downs to really appreciate and grow to the highs.
I'll tell you, I think that's true too. It's funny. So my coach, he's also married to he's not in real estate, at
Okay.
least he's not a real estate agent, but his wife has been for,
Yep.
her whole career. And he set me up with her for a couple coaching calls during that time. And I mean, like that call was with what she helped me with was so impactful. I literally played that for our team. Like I have a recording of that call, which got played for our team in a team training to like 45, 50 people just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
2013,
Yeah.
right? That's how like that was I was going through. I can remember I had times like, so my oldest daughter was born at the end of 2012 in November. And I can remember beginning of 2013 when I'm really like, I'm getting my butt kicked, quite
Yeah.
frankly. And I remember I came home and my wife was like, "What's going on?" And I was just like, "I got to get better at this. Like,
Yeah.
I remember saying those exact words. I got to get better at this because I'm showing up at people's houses and I'm like, I drove here. You should definitely give me this listing. Like I came all the way to your house. I've sold 1,000 houses. What else do you need from me?
Yeah.
Right. And apparently that wasn't good enough for most people. And so, I really had to go through that hard time. And, we sold, I don't know, 130, 140 houses that year and pretty much all traditional. I guess we probably had a decent handful of short sales still at the time.
Yep.
But, not nearly as many as we had in years past. And, yeah, so like we really had to learn. That's the year I learn to become a realtor.
And I'm sure it's changed and shaped the experience you've had at the beginning, the change you've had to grow. And then now you can look at both and kind of say, okay, it kind of opens your eyes to more opportunity because you see both sides of the spectrum of just answering on the phone and then having to work for it. It kind of opens up your
Well,
mindset, I'm sure.
now I see why other agents did get listings even in the short sale days. Like if I, go back to then, like knowing what I know now, I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be over with. We'd probably carry hundreds of listings at all times.
Yeah.
And be closing probably 50 to 100 deals a month. Like it was of all short sales. Like it was, now I see it.
Yeah.
Then I just was like, we were learning in real time. I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah. And one of the things that I see as a common theme is having the right mindset, especially when it comes to farming or in the business as a whole, but really getting into the right mindset and the right frame of mind to understand what you need and understand how you need to grow the business. And a lot of people will look at someone's business and go, oh, I want that, or I want to do what they're doing, without understanding where their mindset's at and who they need to become to grow a business like that. And without that, you could have every skill in the world, without the right mindset and without the right
You
ability to
know,
put yourself that, like, you're not going to do the business.
I'm glad you said that. What's funny is that that's why I like podcasts and conversations like this, because you can get a little deeper
Yeah.
as opposed to like on stage. Like when someone's on stage at a big event, like first of all, you get the stage talk where people don't really share openly, or they, a
Yeah.
little puffery, stuff like that. But the thing is, like, you're never going to find out those details behind it. Whereas when you get a little more in depth like this, you can learn some of those things. Because I totally agree with that. That is a hot point for me. That's something that I've always cared about, because I see so many of my friends and agents, peers, who will go listen to so and so talk,
Yeah.
and it's like they saw like the 10% of the story that the person on stage wanted them to see,
Yeah.
and it just sets them up for failure. And if you don't know those things, you don't know the whole story, the mindset, the history of it, it's really easy to fail.
Yeah. And a lot of agents will go to the exact same training, the exact same event, exact same experience. One walks away who has the right mindset and can apply what they learned, and the other person is stuck spinning their wheels going, what do I do? Or how come it's not working for me? And it's like, if they just had that shift in mindset, it will totally change their business.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
So on that topic of mindset, for you, obviously shifting gears has been a big part of your business and pivoting throughout your career. Uh, you've had some big changes from, like I said, from the team, from the structure of how you do it to the growth. What kind of things have you guys done? We talked just before off camera about in the last year, you're working on some really neat things. So like, what are you doing now to shift gears to kind of ratchet up the business to the next level?
Yeah, so good question. I think when I really look back at our business over the last 12 years, or 12 and a half years, Fred and I have been working together, um, we've had a couple like really major changes and shifts in our business, right?
Right.
And every time we've come out of it better and like gone further.
Yep.
And because you kind of build, it's not that you destroy everything, you actually rebuild, and you build on top of a stronger, better foundation that's just higher. That's just it's better equipped. And so when I look at what we do, so I mentioned earlier, we're an expansion team. So we've had agents in as many as probably 8 or 9 different markets over the last 6 years. It's obviously not that big now. We've had as many as 100 agents on our team. And so I share all that to go, like, trust me, we're still failing and learning and shifting our gears. And what we have done about a year ago, to your point, we looked up and said, we just made a couple of changes to our business structure and our business model that we thought was super important. And, now fast forwarding, like, it was awesome. I'm so glad we did that. But one of the other things we did is we've been in the business too long to not just have 150, 200 transactions a year come to us in Phoenix, like
Right.
just in Phoenix alone, no matter what.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, in Phoenix, for whatever reason, we're like the hot spot for all of the disruptors, right? Zillow starts here, Open Door started here 6 years ago. OfferPad, they're all here. They all start here. And so part of it is like, how do you insulate yourself from different changes like that in the industry? But also just like, how do we have a certain amount of profit in our business built in automatically, no matter what goes on
Yep.
for the next 10, 20, 30 years?
Yep.
And so we started asking ourselves those questions. And what we realized is, while we've always been really good at gaining referrals, we truthfully weren't that great at it when it came to our sphere of influence and our past clients. Like, we were getting probably a good amount, but nowhere near what we could.
Yep.
And so what we decided to do is, we decided we were going to farm, if you will, our sphere of influence and our past clients better than we ever had before. And I remember last July, I did what I called, I declared bankruptcy on my sphere of influence, and quite literally pulled up a blank spreadsheet, got my phone out, so opened up my address book, got my Facebook friends list out, got my Commissions Inc. page open, and I just started typing names. And I just made a definition of here's everyone who's going to go on this list. And then I went through all those names and I put all those people on the list and I started filling it out. And we just started going, hey, we're going to take better care of these people. We're going to truthfully farm them. We're going to mail to them. We're going to hit them electronically. We're going to see them in person, and started going through different steps like that, which I'm happy to dive into any and or all of that if you'd like.
And I think, like you said, farming your database, farming your sphere is the same as farming. Farming in its core is just picking a group of people and focusing on them. And for me, geographic farming is the neighborhood. If it's your database, if it's if you're going after young professionals, whatever, the magic of it is really building the relationships and furthering that. And in my opinion, the future of real estate is not, you're not going to go have those big tech distributors or disruptors go away. So the way to insulate yourself, like you said, is to further those relationships. And the days of just sending out a postcard or sending out a Christmas card or sending a phone call here or there, like to keep those clients, it's not going to be there anymore. So you have to really up your game. And that's why I think future is in farming, and if it's your database, if it's your sphere, and really tripling down and quadrupling down on the love on them. So let's talk about some of the things you're doing, because that is really, at the end of the day, what you actually do with your database is what is going to decide if you're going to be in the business or not in the future.
Man, I totally agree. So here's how I'll even break it down for you, because I think some of it would maybe relate to more to I think people see geographic farm and they go, okay, those are people I don't really know yet, but I want. So in my opinion, those are people I don't know, but I want to know. Like I want, and you said that word, the magic word, relationship. I got to build a relationship with those people. And so we kind of broke those down. So number one was like our sphere lists. And I just said, who would, if I saw them in the grocery store, stop and they would want to talk to me and I would actually want to talk to them, or they would take my phone call or I would take their phone call. Like we're going to start there. Like if they don't fit that qualification, they don't go on this list, they can go on this other list over here. And so then there was obviously that there's only a certain amount of people, right? That's good, who's going to meet that. And then there's everybody else who maybe was a client of ours, a client of they were an internet lead, and maybe it was from a buyer's agent that was on our team 7 years ago. I don't know, but everybody else is going to go on this other list. That's what I'm going to call them. Even though we kind of met them, they're still going to go on a kind of our haven't met list. And so first step was step one. We took our Mets and I put them on a monthly postcard. Like, as silly as that sounds, we did something called the world's most interesting postcard.
Dean Jackson's. Awesome.
Yeah, Dean Jackson. So I had Dean on my podcast and have gotten to know Dean over the last couple of years. The guy's a genius, right? Yes. He is quite literally a genius, and one of the nicest souls you'll ever meet. And so I just said, you know what, I'm going to do that. And so that was the very first thing we did. And I say we because my business partner, Fred, also did the same thing. Like after he saw what I was doing, he's like, you know what, I should do that too. I said, yeah, you should. Our business, our future depends on it. Let's do this. So he did that. So for us, that was step one. Step two is now I'm going to take both of those lists. I'm going to take that met and haven't met. And I'm going to do something for both. And that is, we went to Viral Marketing, which is a company that obviously just does video, video blogs basically twice a month. Now, we've been using video since November of 2009. So it's not like we needed help creating videos. We create a lot of educational content for other agents, but we had never really been consistent with our real estate content for our clients. And so we decided, like, let's hire a company that will hold us accountable to doing this. And they'll actually go through and do the kind of the tedious administrative part of it. We'll create the video and they can do everything else. So we did that. So there we've got our smaller list and our bigger list doing both of those things. And if anytime you want to stop and dive into any of this, tell me. The next step we did was also for both of those lists, we signed up for a service called HomeBot, which is super amazing, especially when you consider the fact it's like $25 a month for 500 people.
HomeBot, HOMEBOT.
Yep. So homebot.ai,
I
think is their website. Fred and I think we started a little Facebook group around that, but like we just whatever, we get too much stuff to do. So at any rate, homebot.ai, like I don't get anything for that. It's 25, but there's no money to share. But so here's what it does is it looks like a valuation email that goes out to your clients every month. And it is, except it really is presented as a financial statement.
Right.
And it like the open rate is ridiculous. I've never seen any email ever get such a high open rate.
Yeah.
And people returning to the same email. They can go in, they can play with their mortgage balance. They can see what happens if they want to invest in their neighborhood. What would happen if they bought a short-term rental versus like a long-term rental. If they want to do cash out refi, maybe it's time to buy a new one, stuff like that. Like it gives them these options.
Yeah. And it's coming from you you're the sender then. So it positions you as that expert with all that information and value, which is awesome.
And like, I'm sure I'm doing a terrible job of selling it, but here's what I know. I know the open rates, and that's all that matters. Like when I look at not just how many people open it once, but how many people go back in it and play with it multiple times. That's how I knew. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And you pay $25 and your lender partner pays $25. That's it. Like per 500 people. Awesome. It's pretty amazing.
Actually, funny you mentioned that. I was just having a conversation with my mortgage broker the other day, and they've got this really cool program, which we're going to probably start implementing. It's similar to that, where if they've done the deal with them, so if I've sent him a referral, he's got their information. He knows how much they paid for the house, what their mortgage is, and then as they pay it down, they do basically like a available amount that if they were to borrow and refinance, and then they do that once a year where they send out and say, hey, you're at this, here's your thing, here's what the average price would be, you've got 70 grand. If you refinanced, we could pull it out and maybe get you an investment property. And he said it's helping now create more opportunities for the agents because they're now doing that. We look good because we referred them to a great mortgage broker who's now doing that. And then they're having someone who's looking out for them financially as well, which is awesome.
Exactly. So this is kind of like the same, except it's
automated.
It's automated and it's monthly. And as long as that information is put in, right? When you either sign them up or they sign themselves up, like they put in their interest rate, their mortgage balance and purchase price, like there's a ton of information you can put in. You don't have to have it all, but it'll do that exact same thing. That's so awesome. Trust me, it's amazing because it just creates those conversations, right? And they see it as like the important thing here is it's seen as value. So those are our big lists, right? So that's both lists. Now we come back over to our smaller list. In fact, we then took our small list and made it even smaller and said, hey, I'll go with this one next. So we took our small list and we made it even smaller and went, who's our top of our top? Like who's our top referrers? Who are the people that do multiple deals with us and send us multiple deals? And we put them on basically a gifting program 4 times a year. So we're going to send them out a handpicked out gift 4 times a year just to say, hey, thank you, stay top of mind. And so we started doing that. And that's been awesome too. Like just getting the texts and the thank yous and stuff like that. Pretty amazing. One thing we have done if I go back a little bit of time in my story to 2013 when I learned how to become a realtor, after selling 1,000 houses, like we started doing a pie giveaway event, so like a client appreciation event. So we've kept that up, never stopped that. So we've also got that goes out to the whole big list too. So you're probably noticing a theme here. Like, so we're loving on these people constantly, right? And then this is the really crazy part. Like this is it. This is going to seal it, right? This is going to be the part that everyone loves or hates. As soon as COVID hits, where everyone's got to start working from home. I shut down our office and we're all working from home. And Fred and I are talking like that first couple of days. We're like, what do? We just want to make sure people aren't scared. Right. And so we came up with this idea of like, let's challenge everyone to do something so small. There's no excuse for it, but it will have an impact. And so we said, okay, we came up with this thing, we call it 3 to Thrive, which is call 3 people in your sphere of influence or past clients, or even, for some of our newer agents who don't have that big of a sphere or past clients, like they can call their leads and just check in on them. Like we'd say, hey, are you staying safe and are you staying sane? Like that was a script we gave people, safe and sane. And just do 3 a day. Just to don't ask for business. hey, Ryan, it's Kevin. I was thinking about you. How's the family? You guys staying safe or staying sane in this crazy time? And I probably could have predicted this if you'd held the gun to my head a year ago. But I got to tell you, adding in those 3 little phone calls every day has done nothing but pour gasoline on our referrals. Like it has just been like it's been building consistently, right? And we've been doing these things now consistent over the last year. And those phone calls, it was magic. It was just like magic. And it's 3 a day. Like it's not a lot. It's really not a lot. Like so that's the other thing is like, we just pick 3 people out and call them every day too. And you're probably going to get a lot of voicemails. Who cares? Just leave the message. Let them know you're thinking about them.
And the
And
good thing with that is that I did something similar. As my a friend of mine told me, because I was having a rough time when everything hit. I was like trying to figure out, like everyone else, like what the heck's going on. And she's like, just reach out to people. So I picked 5 people a day, and I was sending them messages on Facebook similar. And she's like, just for your own sake. She's like, just to connect with people, so you're not, because I'm single guy at home by myself. It's like I don't have family, I don't have a wife, don't have whatever. It's like, she's like, just for your own sake, just to have a connection with someone. And
yeah,
for me, it was like, even if I got nothing from it, just my own mental health was good to just reach out, connect with people. Then I got responses from people saying like, thank you so much. You have no idea how much that means to me, because they're all in the same boat, going their lives. Everyone's going, what the heck's going on in the world right now? So that it's doesn't cost you anything. It's a little bit of time and can be huge. So that's awesome.
yeah. That was kind of part of our thought too, is like just, we wanted to people, because you get scared because it was a scary time, right?
Yeah.
Like, people were like, I mean, we still don't know anything about COVID, but we knew even less then.
Yeah.
And like the reality was like, it was going to be really easy for people to spiral downwards quickly.
Yeah.
And so one thing I know is everyone on this planet wants and needs to connect with other human beings. And so we just figured if we just do that, we give such a low number of 3 people, um, that's what we found as our agents. So we'd get back on, like, go to our weekly team meeting or whatever. And we even started just a thread inside of our little team Facebook group,
Yeah.
where, I mean, still going to this day, like everyone was just sharing of how much they were getting out of it.
Yeah.
Like, and business was coming in because of it. Like, it was almost like we were all surprised about the business side of it, but everyone was like so happy with the impact it made for them personally, mentally, on their own, like, mental health. It was pretty amazing.
And again, there's a lot of people who are out there who need that and need to hear from it. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I said that when you're sitting there with COVID, you don't know the other person where they're at on the other side, and you don't know, are they in a financial pinch? Are they having problems with their marriage because of it? Are they having issues with their kids? And like, just that one touch can be the difference between having someone reach out and make their day. And so you don't know. So
I,
by doing that, it's so simple but it's
I
huge.
mean, even me personally, like, I'll tell you, some of the sometimes too, I would miss people, like, and I'd leave them a voicemail,
Yeah.
and I would get like the biggest thank you back, like I'm sorry I missed your call, but oh my God, thank you so much. And people were just so happy to hear from us. And here's the deal: there's going to be a point in the future. I don't know if it's in 6 months or a year or what, where this is behind us, and life's going to be fast and crazy again.
Yeah.
But it's really important that we let these lessons stay with us. I know for me, like, it's kind of like I learned a lot from the financial crisis and all that. Like, there's a lot of stuff I think that I see that I do in my life and my business now that had I not gone through that, I wouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
I think this is another one of those crazy, crazy times in history, right?
Yeah.
Where, yes, we're going to go back and things are going to feel whatever the hell normal gets to be. And if we can just remember some of the stuff like this, like just remembering to connect with a few people every day, just the major impact that has not only on your, obviously on your business, but in your life and possibly in their life. Like, a lot of times you might be the only person that they've heard from all day or all week.
Yep.
And that means way more to people than you could ever imagine.
And I think the theme that I'm feeling from you saying, and a lot of people have said, is that when it comes to growing your business, it's not about promotion. Like, you haven't sat there and nothing you've said is about telling people how awesome you are. It's about providing value and building a relationship. And so many agents get hung up, especially with farming, in that they think that it's about I got to tell people who I am, tell them I'm the best, tell them I sell more houses, tell them, and then they go, well, I haven't done that, so I can't then start a farm because I haven't sold houses or I haven't. It's like, you don't have to do any of that. You can just provide value to people, make their life better. And I mean, not, you obviously want it to tie it back to real estate to some degree, but it's like, you don't have to be self-promoting yourself. And I think people that do it right, it's far more about helping than about real estate. And the people that succeed, it's not like I'm the best real estate agent.
Yeah, I'll tell you in this conversation, just because we let it, be super organic, went a little bit differently than I thought it might coming into it. But I will share this with something else. Like, I've got a buddy who said it to me this way about this thing that I love video. Like I mentioned, we started using it in 2009, and we use it for our clients. We use it for training and for education. Here's the deal. Like when you talk about like the self-promotion versus building the relationships, like if you're going to do it the promotional way, like it's a big spend. Like that's a lot of money, right? Think about a company like Pepsi, right? I don't know what they spend. I'll bet you they spend $10 million a month in advertising minimum, right? Like around between all their mediums. And that's why people can drive down the freeway and see a Pepsi billboard. They can hear the radio commercial. They'll see the TV commercial. They'll see the print ad in the magazine that they're reading. They'll see the banner ad. And they can do that so that way they're promoting to the whole world, right?
Yeah.
And we can't, like, listen, we could take all of the listeners and viewers of this conversation. We could all pool our commissions together for the next 12 months and we still couldn't compete even for 1 month, right? With Pepsi, right? We just could not do that.
Yeah.
But what we can do is we can appear to be like Pepsi to a small group of people, 500, 1,000, 100 people, it doesn't matter. We can appear to be like that. And we can do that with very simple and easy little tricks. It's not even tricks, just tools we have with video and social media. And if we're complementing that, most importantly, with the human connection side, dude, it's lights out. It's a game changer.
And like you said, the human side of it is important. And that's another theme that I've seen over the years, that the people who do really well are the ones who are authentic. And that's something I always appreciated about your business. You guys are always, you're authentic. Like if people don't know you, I don't know if your logo is still the flip flops. And so you guys are shorts and t-shirts and flip flops, and the you comes out in your message to the people. And a lot of people will try to polish themselves into something they're not, and they try to build a farm around this brand or this image that they aren't. And the ones who do well are the ones who really let themselves come out. And that's, like we talked about, video is one of the best ways to do that. And it really allows you to show who you are and connect with people without actually having to touch them. And that's when you segment your lists, the people who are your heaven mets can get to know you without actually getting to know you. So for you, video is important. So what does that look like? How have you guys used video, and how are you going to be using video? Because I know it's a big part of your business.
Yeah. So like, I really like breezed over it. I said viral marketing, but the reason I said viral marketing is because they do everything that I want to do with video that like I know how to do, but still don't do it. So let me give you a quick example. So twice a month, we'll create a piece of content for the consumer, right? For the homeowner in Arizona or the home buyer or whatever.
Yeah.
We'll create 2 videos a month. So I'm a big believer in, to use Dean Jackson's language, the MOO method, right? Multiplied oral output. So if I'm going to create one piece of video, now I can take that video and I can do a couple things with it. Of course, it's going to go into an email. And so we'll take that, it'll be transcribed and then written into more of like an email or blog post format.
Yep.
So that gets emailed out. It also goes on to a blog on our website, our home search site. That same video then gets uploaded to YouTube. That same video then gets uploaded to Instagram. It gets uploaded to Facebook. It goes on to Twitter. So effectively it goes everywhere where we are socially from that one piece of content, right? And then we can promote it as well to, like on Facebook, we've got our sphere and past clients in there. So the small list and that big list, we've got them all in there. So for $1 a day, I can constantly be putting that in front of those people. So that way they're seeing it promoted on Facebook, literally for $1 a day, $2 a day if you really want to get crazy.
Yeah.
And so that's our video strategy for now. Now we use, like, if we were going to have like a conversation on video, we could go so much further and talk about like Instagram stories and Facebook stories and stuff that's way more about branding, but also tools for connection. Because the thing I know about, I started doing video just because I believed it was powerful, right? Gary Vee said it was powerful. I believed him. I did it. And then I saw how powerful it was. And I was like, whoa. And then I learned about it. So a buddy of mine who's been a mentor and a coach to me as well over the years, his name is John Cheplack, taught me like effectively 1 minute of video. So somebody consuming 1 minute of your video is equal to them consuming 1.6 or 1.8 million written words of yours.
Wow.
When it comes to the psychological connection.
Right. Yeah.
So let me break that down further. They start to see your video, right? Once they've seen a minute of this, listen, I've got a face for radio. I'm totally aware of that. And yet I still have some friends and I still connect with people, right? And I can do that so much better with video, because if you'll give me a minute, all it takes is a couple of times before it starts building connections. Like whether the person knows it or doesn't, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
They're going to build a psychological connection. It's why we are hurt when certain celebrities die,
Yep.
right? So it's why you see people like really, truthfully devastated, emotionally hurt when their favorite actor or actress or singer or whatever passes away. It's because they do truthfully have a connection with them.
Yep.
Like it's when you don't, it's easy to go, but the truth is like, no, we've built a connection with that person, and video is the thing that allows us to do that. The mind doesn't know the difference between this computer screen, this phone screen,
Yep.
the TV screen, the movie screen, or anything else. Like all it knows is it's on a screen. And so psychologically, you're building this connection. And so when you're talking about video, the reason why it's important, I believe, to do consistent video is to continue to help you build. It's kind of like why you would invest or save your money, right? You invest it so that way it grows even when you're not working, right? So you're gaining money even when you're not actively doing something. So the same thing, video is helping you actively build relationships with those people that you've identified in your farm or your fill in the blank sphere of influence, past clients, etc. That's leverage for you that you can use. And so to me, that's why video, like it's been a part of our business for 11 years. And it'll be a part of our business probably until I can implant stuff into people's memories to only work with me.
And it's so true. And it's critical that people get that, because episode was with Matt Santagapita, and he talks about video, and he basically is cataloging his city of all the local businesses. So he's doing interviews.
So smart.
He's doing 5 best best place for chicken wings, best place to take your mom on Mother's Day, and doing all these videos. And he said, I shifted from paper farming to digital farming. And he said, because it's got an evergreen model where I can use that over and over and over again. And that can be seen thousands of times. And if I send out one blast of something with a postcard by itself, he's like, that only has one touch point. And he was talking about that same thing. It's like that video creates the connection, and it creates trust, and it doesn't cost much. It's way less than print advertising. Not that print advertising doesn't work, but especially as a new agent, it's like all you need is, I need my cell phone. That's all I need. Like you literally could have a cell phone and get started. And I want to touch on this, and then I want to go back into what you're talking about is through the surveys that I've done with all the agents with farming, the number one thing that agents were afraid of or concerned about was having content and what do I send. And with video, like you just talked about, you can take one video and turn that into a bunch of content, and you literally can have an entire plan based on, you could do 12 videos, 1 video a month, break that into sub videos, different topics, different things, blog posts. You could take the transcription of it and create content, and you need record yourself once a month. So video really allows you, like you said, to do so much more than just record your face or send out a quick video. And if you use it right, there's no question it's huge for your business.
Yeah, I mean, it's the number one. And you know what's so funny is I realized it was about a year ago. I was in the San Francisco Bay Area teaching a class to probably about 100 or so some of the top agents in the area.
Yeah, and
so this wasn't like, these weren't the average agents. These were the top agents.
Yeah.
I saw everyone's production. Like I saw a list of everyone who was invited. It was invite only.
Yeah.
And I did a poll just, and obviously like this is anecdotal, right? It was me one time, for me, it was a great reminder. It was impactful for me, which is why I'm sharing it with you. So I'm in the room with about 100 people, might've been 98, might've been 103. I don't know, but it's about 100. And I asked like, we got on the subject of video. So I started talking about it. I'm like, I finally asked like, okay guys, like who's using it consistently? Like whether using it like me or another way, like who, when they're, and let's define consistently as like once a week or more than once a month, right? I think 6 people raised their hand.
Wow.
6.
Yeah.
In a room of 100 top producing real estate agents.
Yeah.
And so for me, the lesson was this, like, again, I've been using video since 2009. I believe in it. You could not convince me of it.
Yeah.
The people I hang out with all use video. In my head, everyone uses video. Everybody does. Like, that's my thought. Like, that's what I think. Like, that's my reality.
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, hold on a second. No one is using video.
Yeah.
No one is really using video. And people who will use video, they're still not consistent because they'll do it like for 7 times and think like, oh yeah, I use video. And then they'll get tired of it, not get a result. So they'll stop using it. So yeah, video to me, like it's the number one. That's how we can compete with Pepsi to like my 500 people. That's how I can compete with them.
Yep.
And I can actually have more mind share than Pepsi with this finite number of people if I use video and the tools that social media and the internet provides us.
And year after year, people keep saying, oh, video is the future, video is the future, video is the future, and no one's jumping on board. Other industries are. It's real estate agents are like so behind, and it makes me laugh because like people are like, this is the year for video, and then another year goes by and this is the year for video, and yeah, like not many people are using it. Some people are, like you said, they're picking it up here and there sporadically, but if someone just jumps on video, and I think they crush it in their farm just by doing video alone, like not spending a dime, not doing anything, just using the right video approaches, you can really grow it. So I want to wrap up because I want to respect your time. 2 things. One is, if you were to give someone advice, new agent or newer agent getting started, what's one thing that you'd say is absolutely critical for them?
Oh gosh, one thing. Stick to whatever you're going to do. Here's the deal. Here's one of the things I genuinely love about this business is there's not one way to succeed in real estate. Like if you don't want to farm, don't farm.
Don't tell them that. No, not my listeners.
If you don't want to, well, like they're here because they do want to farm. But if you don't want to cold call, don't cold call. Like you don't have to do it. You don't have to be miserable.
Yeah.
So many people, like they hear that person on stage or on the podcast or in the video they saw, the class they went to that said, I succeeded this way. And so they think that's the way they have to succeed, or that's the way everyone in their office or their brokerage does it or perceived. And so they do it that way, even though they have no business doing it that way.
Yeah.
So first of all, the beautiful thing about our business is that there's many different ways. So I think it's important to take stock of who you really are and know your own behavior. So like maybe step 1 really is like, just know who you are and what you're willing to commit to daily. And then drown out the noise, like forget about everything else. Pick the 1 or 2 things, not 5 things. Pick the 1 or 2 things that you're willing to do every day ad nauseum until you're successful, until you find success. And here's the deal. Most people will go outright, like let's take cold calling. I'm going to cold call. I'm going to call canceled and expireds. And I'm going to get business because Joe, down the hall, that's how he built his business. And so it should work for me. And so they do it for 2 months and they don't know why they don't have any business. So they go, God, like stupid. I'm going to start buying leads online. And then they buy leads online. And then they do that for 2 months and they go, so I've got a deal. So then they go to the next thing. And you know what I mean? That keeps going. And the reality is that you got to find out who you are, what you're willing to do, and then be committed to that for the long run. Like if you can't give, I'm going to call it a lead generation tactic, 6 to 12 months minimum, don't even do it. If you got to open your wallet to buy leads or to invest money in video or invest money, I don't care. If you're not willing to do it, probably for 12 months, like if you're new, give it 6, but no less than 6, then just don't do it because you're not going to have success. And if you do, it's going to be dumb luck. And so then what's going to happen is that let's say you do get some dumb luck and you close a deal from whatever that is in the second month. The problem is it's going to take you 4 or 5 more months before you get your second one and you're going to quit. and you're going to wonder why it didn't happen sooner. And the reason it didn't happen sooner is because the first time was just dumb luck. So you got to be consistent with something. So find out who you are, admit to yourself who you are, drown out the noise, understand that yes, other people are going to be successful different ways, and don't listen to them.
I recently had Jenny Woloch on, and she said she doubled her business by changing her mindset around. She thought I had to do cold calling and expireds. And then she said, then I changed my mindset and then go, oh, I don't have to do that. I can work my sphere, and then doubled her business in 1 year. And that's exactly, I'm a firm believer in finding a business model that works for you and a lead generation style that fits who you are. You still have to commit to it. It's not going to be easy. It's still a lot of work, but yeah, like you said, pick something that it's kind of resonates with you and just double down on it and crush it, because that's absolutely the best way to maximize the return on it.
Yeah, you got to go that way. Like, that's the way to go.
That's awesome. That's great advice. And the last segment we just added in is the best book section. So what's a great book that you would highly recommend to our listeners?
Gosh, I have so many. Like, if I had to get, so the most impactful book I've read in the last couple of years, if you're looking for, like, this is like a pure business wisdom, like, I've never been around somebody more wise. There's a book called The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham.
Okay.
And I had the real fortunate opportunity. Actually, Dean was there too. We were in a room in a mastermind, and Keith was a guest. And he spoke to us for like 3.5 hours, 2 days in a row, just
Wow.
like off the cuff. For those of you who don't know Keith Cunningham, because I didn't know who he was before that day, he's actually Rich Dad. Like, when you hear Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So Rich Dad is actually, it's really two different people that Kiyosaki kind of put together.
Yep.
And made into a fictional person, mostly based on Keith Cunningham is Rich Dad. So, like, that was kind of a cool thing to learn, just because that book had such an impact for me. And if you ask 10 realtors if they've ever read that book, at least one person got into real estate because of that book.
Wow.
Like, you know what I mean? So that book was so impactful. So Keith Cunningham, The Road Less Stupid, the guy just oozes wisdom, and it's just pure business wisdom that he shares in that book. So The Road Less Stupid, for sure.
So we'll put that in the link so people can check it out. And thank you. That's a great recommendation. I'll have to check it out myself. I haven't read it, so that's definitely a good one. So yeah, I want to thank you for being on the show. It was great. You dropped a lot of great wisdom and got a great experience. And I think the mindset part is for me, the big takeaway, and really having people understand how important it is to stay in the right mindset and stay focused and be okay with shifting your business. Because that, in my opinion, is how you're going to stay in the business. If you don't shift and you don't roll with things, you'll be out before you know it. So thank you, Kevin. We really appreciate being on the show, and we'll put your information. Can people connect with you if they want to reach out?
Yeah, best way, if you're on Facebook, go join our Facebook group called Next Level Agents. Really active in there. So is my business partner, Fred. I'm on Instagram. I don't even know what my handle is. Maybe I don't even know what it is.
We'll put it in there. We'll figure it out.
Look me up. I'm on Twitter, but don't follow me there unless you're okay with, like, the occasional F-bomb. That's kind of where I go to really let loose. And yeah, so that's the best place to find me. And then our podcast is the Kevin and Fred Show, where we, dissect what other people are learning and doing as well, and try to share some of our insights.
Awesome. Thanks you again. We appreciate it. And it's great interviewing. I think you were my very first episode of The Niche Agent when I launched. So
yes, that's right.
Fast forward. It's been great to re-interview you again. So thank you again.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Ryan. We'll talk to you again soon, man.
Thanks. Thanks for checking out today's episode. If you like more videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Facebook page and our other social media channels. Looking forward to bringing you more great content like this, and happy farming.